Ms. Lee. Uh, kind of she they vibes today, but he is fine too. Um, I'm working on um, well, anyway, um, yes, the reason I have my face covered for a minute is because I'm trying to get all of this sorted. I'm trying to send a bunch of people um, tell a bunch of people that I'm here so they can come and join us for the the stream. But I also wanted to get the stream started on time so that anyone who'd known it was happening at 1:30, like I said it was, could then come and not be like, the stream's not happening. It's just kind of a weird in between stage which I'm taking full advantage of. Um, Beautiful. Okay. Um, all right. Um, what? Okay, so there's that. Five. We do the thing and do the thing and oh, that's why it. Okay. Uh, so I realized that I didn't stream for a week, and a little bit something personal happened to me, and I didn't want to. I wasn't feeling up to it. I'm really sorry about that. Okay. So there's that. There's that. I'm trying to get back in the groove of things and actually, you know. All right. Do that. I think I'm about tapped out in terms of um. Uh, uh, Anyway, today I was thinking. So I have my notebook that I show up on stream every. I'll show it up again when I turn the camera on. I promise. But I have this notebook, right, that has a whole list of all the characters all the character notes and setting notes and other notes, essentially. So my notebook is getting kind of falling apart. You might notice, and I've lost several pages that and um, I don't want to lose too many more pages because well, if I lose pages, that's stuff I worked on stream, and I want to type it up. So my plan today is going to be type up stuff that I wrote in my world building note in the notebook that I use for the stream and stuff like that. Okay, so okay, I think that's everyone I could. It would be worth telling. I think. Okay. That's about as good as it's going to get. So I'm going to do this. I know you can't see what I'm doing, but trust me, it's worth doing. That. Okay, cool. And take one more bite of my snack, because before you have to watch me eat, because I don't like to eat on stream. I know it's not that big a deal, but alright. Here we go. Are we ready? Hi. This is me. I'm Lee. I said they, them, kind of more towards she, but here, is fine. I'm pretty chill on pronouns. Bop. I've been trying to upload all my streams to YouTube. I lost several of them because I did not upload them in time. And ooh, we have at least one viewer. Welcome. Feel free to say hi in the chat. Since we didn't have that I didn't get them up within the necessary time frame, they might be lost forever. Probably are lost forever. But I try to get as many as I can on YouTube, in case you're ever bored and want to listen to me help you fall asleep or whatever. That's a thing. Yes, I'm also going back to Thirsty Sword Lesbians later this week. But right now, what I'm doing is scratching an itch, which is very annoying. And then I'm going to put the bop in the bop shoe bop shoe. No, sorry, that's a song. I get that song stuck in my head. Often. Okay, what we're gonna do is we are going to, do the thing with saying, very exciting stuff. Okay, so what we're gonna do is close that for now. Oh, hi, more friends. Welcome, welcome. Please feel free to say hi in the chat. I'm gonna do the thing that I have learned how to do, where I do a little technicality magics to make okay, this means this one has to go here, but no, not that much. Essentially, it allows me to type and or read something on the screen and still see the chat, but it is the difficulty technicality to pull off. So what we're going to do is pull this sideways. No, pull you, yes, that's how we're going to play that. And then we're going to put you here. Wunderbar. And then, there we go. Now I can see the chat, so if any of you want to type hello or anything, I will be able to read it and not go around not noticing, which I've done before. Okay, so, alright, so here's this notebook. Right, we typed up on the very last, okay, here's the back, here's the front. I had a couple of, I lost, you can see this is one of the pages I lost. I think it went in front. Back when we had a cover and a back cover to like differentiate, now it's just kind of based on memory of when we had that. So I guess I could rearrange it and declare something else to be the front, but I really don't want to. Because I was going from the back during the stream. So this is the that is a primitive copy of my, here, I'll show you. Okay, I have that chart, which is some kind of a newer version of this chart I have here. And then this, I don't know, can you see that? It's a pencil list of animal companions that I use to roll, which is change that chart there. Ha, I can kind of, that chart there. Ha. I'm learning to point. And then this one is just a not as cool version. It's very different. A not as cool version of, let me show you that chart. Where is it? My good chart. Yes, this chart. My favorite chart. This is basically that. I did not put Pan. I had to put Ace and Pan, so I had to rework parts of it. They're just a nice, neat copy. So yeah. So that's what I have, and I'm not going to type up any of that because, well, I've already got copies typed up. I was showing you. Hi! I agree. And you, hang on a second, it's bees, and you're using Spency's computer, which is why, although didn't Spencer have a different, maybe you're not bees using Spencer's computer. You might be someone else entirely, in which case, welcome. My name is Lee. She, her vibe today, but he or they is fine. Okay, you are bees. Good. Welcome. So, I'm doing typing up all sorts of cool stuff today, because I have I've been losing pages. You can see this is the one that got lost. It was let's see, the one I lost was all my notes on Togoloria, which, yes, that's the one I recognized. You have 3 different aliases, and I'm learning to spot them. Hang on. Oh, yes. The shenanigans. I lost all my notes on Togoloria. I didn't lose them. They're sitting on the desk. I need to type those up, too. But it's that one was based on a Traveler game that allowed for really quick interdimensional travel, which is cool. And then my friend of mine was like, I was like, we should do collaborative world building because I'm bored. And he was like, well, he said, hey, I have, back when I was young, in the 80s or whatever, long time ago, what we did, ran a game where I had players being able to negotiate through what's called the gray corridors and find their way to different worlds and versions of reality and stuff. And one of the ones they found their way to was Togoloria, and he said he briefly described it, but he never actually got into much detail on it, and he was, regretting that. So I'm like, all right, let's draw a map, let's do a thing, let's figure something out. So we did, and I took some brief notes, and we even did like a character creation, and then we just didn't go back to it because we got distracted by other world building stuff, because that's what happens when you have friends who are nerds. Oh, and also space travel. That gets very distracting. Because apparently they're launching new space travel stuff. The most recent small satellite company recently there's a new satellite company that's trying to run space launches. Apparently it's not going well, but yeah, so I'm sure. Anyway, so I have all my notes on Togoloria, and that was actually the conception of this chart, because I wanted to give the character some siblings, and I was like, hey, we'll roll for it. And that was the conception of Chart 1, in a very primitive form. But, I also had, the only other thing I had in this notebook before I started writing up streaming notes was a one-shot, for 5th edition, based in Svezia, which actually is in the same country, same world as all of these. It's a village in Gilnia, which, I have a map. I can now show you a map. Which is right, here we, nope. Yeah, yeah, there we go. It's right there. The east, you can see, yeah, it's a village in Gilnia, and there was a whole war thing, and there was this hag. Fun stuff abounded, and, I still have that one shot. I actually ran it once for one player because I couldn't get any more players than that. But, yeah. But I have all my notes on that one shot. Also was in this notebook. Also fell out. I lost the cover, back cover, Togoloria, and the notes on the one shot. And I'm hoping not to lose anything else, which means I'm going to type up the stuff that's on these back pages before they fall out. And I will get rid of the map because it's a very cool map, but... Actually, I could, Cassadar, which is the island, to the, well, if up is north, which I didn't put the little thing on the side that points out that up is north, but I did orient the map that way, then it would be to the, eastern coast, the very eastern coast, just south of Gilnia, and then kind of to the west of Florentina, and stuff. It is, Cassadar, it's a country. Alti is the capital city. That was, I think, one of the first streams I did was world building, and we started with this one and went from there. And then Oh, yes. And then we started with, Sarkis Blue Tide, the Halfling Paladin. I think BB helped me name them. And, but I'm going to type that stuff up. That was my grand plan. And, so I'm going to type, well, actually, I have to use, my own keyboard is a little screwy, so I have to use this other keyboard that works with the computer, I guess, that I'm borrowing from a friend, but that means I can type G and H and all the capital letters and all the numbers and every single punctuation mark without having to copy paste them, which is kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. Copy pasting @ and exclamation points was really annoying. So, yes. And I can't show you the typing because I haven't figured out how to get that kind of screen share going yet. Give me a few, more weeks of using Twitch. But we have Kassadar, which is the country. The capital city is... yes, the River Cleves forms the border with Florentina. Okay. Ealti, which is a lot of vowels. Oh, that's all of the names that that was the original list of names that are kind of cool that I probably should use on someone that I haven't used yet. Desi, Brada, Zunla, Alodin. Those are cool. Borders. Okay, we got borders. The border with, Thalas. That's important. I'm going to... And that's the thing about taking notes on paper. Sometimes you'll, scribble stuff in the margins that's actually very important, and don't put enough context into... Remind yourself why it was important. But the border with, Florentina. Florentia is the River Cleves. Although I think that's the name that's not... I feel like there's probably a different... It probably has a different name in Kalsadarian language, which probably... Also, there are turtles in Kalsadar. I'm going to put that down, that there is a turtle population, and if I wrote it down somewhere else, I'll rework it, but... there's a very specific reason. So, all of the, a lot of the races in my, world, only exist in my world because someone said, hey, I want to play this race. Like, there probably wouldn't be Luxodon in the world, if, someone I was playing would say, hey, I want to play a Luxodon. I'm like, okay, Luxodon apparently exists in this world, let me come up with the lore for them. They actually live on an island called Tropelia, which is down to the south. If I can see the map. It is not... Oh, yeah, you can kind of barely see the shore of it on the map. But, hang on one moment. Here we go. Getting a... Hello?
Hi, Lisa.
Yeah?
Can you check that I turn off
I'll make sure it's off. Yep. Alright, I'll double check it. Yeah. Bye. Hey, so my roommate called me, and apparently, the stove may or may not have been left on. I'm gonna check that because it's very important, safety-wise, to not leave the stove on, and I'm pretty sure she turned it off, but, like, I don't want... Yeah, both the stove and the oven are off. But I don't want the stove on while I'm recording in another room and I don't know it's on because that would be bad. Yeah, no, both the stove and the oven are off. And I'm going to go back to this. Hi again. very cool stuff. I actually have a separate thing that I was writing down the characters in, but I want to have world building. I don't know what I should call it. Okay, countries and other things. Oh, right. Gotta type on the other keyboard so I can... Countries and other things. Countries and other things that exist. In one specific world. Right. I don't know what the world is called exactly, but I know, for example, it's a niche version, but I don't know if you've ever heard of Greyhawk. Well, the planet is technically called Orth, but when most people refer to the setting, they call it Greyhawk, which is the name of one city in the... There's the free city itself, and then... Okay, that's a weird gesture for it. There's the free city itself, and then there's this land surrounding it that kind of forms a land controlled by the free city. And then there's the whole Flanaess, which is the ocean, the area right around this ocean. And then there's presumably other stuff that occasionally gets brought in, but most people just call the setting Greyhawk, even though that's only one city. So, like, this setting I would be called, like, Heatherland, but that's just one thing. It's actually only one continent. There are other continents, and, in fact, lore for other continents that I have to type up, including one that I made my friend... I made her a character who was a 16th level bard to be, like, the princess of this nation, because she wanted to... I was like, you know what, I will make you a princess. I will make you a princess who's a 16th level bard and just... pretty and cool and amazing because, you know, with fulfillment. But, I should probably type her character up. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but, you know. Oh, right, so the border. So, when I first started, I was working on Cassadar because I hadn't done any world building for that, and, so it has the first Ialti, Heracles forms the border with Flortina. Okay, so the border with Gilnia, okay. Nope. Gilnia is... What is the border with Gilnia? Let me see. I need to... It says it's forest. Yeah, it's forest. Oh! Oh, right, there's this haunted... It's not exact. It's... There's no, like... it just kind of goes through the haunted forest, and the borders are not particularly well protected, especially with... Okay, there's a lot of refugees coming south through the forest, but there's no, like, concerted effort to stop them, because people in this world, at least in people in Cassadar, realize that stopping refugees really isn't, you know, humane exactly, and you should at least try to be considerate of other people's needs as best you can, and stuff like that. So, sorry if I sound a bit salty. Right, oh, right, my hair isn't actually... Okay, that's fine. Right, the border with the Gilnia is less defined. More, haunted... It's not haunted, It's kind of haunted. It's the difference between superstitious and a little bit stitious. There are some spooky stuff in there, but it's not, like, dangerous. Okay, a little bit dangerous, but, yeah, there's that. Bay of... Oh, Balas was the bay. That was what that was. Okay. Now I know what the thing is. Hang on, let me do also this one. And that. And, actually, I could check the thing on the other thing. And do... Oh, hi! More friends. Sorry, I have the chat off to a box on the side so I can see if anyone says anything, but I don't have the viewer count up. when I'm working on the typing, and I should also turn this to the thing so it doesn't beep distractingly, as per protocol of such. But there was a I okay, right. Sorry about that. But box of the bay, and see, this would be, let's see, we got the haunted forest. Ephemeris is about a city, a major port city halfway up the coast. And the Bay of Thalos. Okay, so. Okay, wait. This is going to use the other. Ephemeris is. I mean, port city. Okay, then I have to question of exactly where reality is, map-wise, which I didn't. Oh, there's the little bakery that's run by that paladin. It's an important. Oh, and yes, the goddess. I forgot about the goddess, and or god or deity, I should say. In the Pathfinder core rulebook, it lists gods. Why does it do that? Okay. Okay. There's that. There's this. Okay, so, Bay of Thalos. No, there's an H in there. Ugh, stupid. It's doing that stupid thing where it decides that you really want this specific number of letters. So if you try to go back and add a letter, it will like delete the one next to it. So you have to go like, it's annoying, and there's definitely a setting I can do to make it stop. I just forget what that setting is, and I kind of can't be arsed, so I'm just doing it this way. Oh, ALT is at the mouth. Okay. Of the River Clees. Which is the river that forms the border with the Florentia. So it's on the border. If ALT is at the mouth of the... Let me look at the frickin' map again. I am often get confused about... Oh, hi! Welcome. Yeah, welcome to the stream. We're doing Sheer Vibes today, but Here They is fine. We're doing world building, actually. So I have this notebook that it started out with a cover and a back cover, and I just kept using it during stream to write down all these things. I lost 2 pages off the front, which were completely unrelated to the world building that I usually do on stream, and character creation and all that. And then... Well, I'm glad I can provide that distraction. Hopefully you don't get in trouble with your boss. If you need to log out and, screen things with the boss, don't worry about it. But it's great to have you here while you can stay. But what I was going to say was, oh yeah, I have a lot. The pages keep falling out, and I don't want to lose any of all these cool notes that I took over the course of the streams that I've been doing with world building. Like the world building Cassar was fair enough. That works. But yeah, Cassadar was a population of halfling and turtles too. Probably should write that down. But it was the first world building I did on stream. The first stream I did was world building with Cassadar and all of its stuff, and now I have a visual map and more definition on the neighboring countries. Not Floridia though. I probably should do more about Floridia and its break off from when the Neapolitan Empire first broke up versus the second breakup when the schism with the three countries. Yeah, I used to do more digitally too. I keep buying notebooks though because I have a it's like the getting physical dice. Like you really only need like one set to play properly, but there's this urge for shiny click clack math rocks because they make you happy. The same thing is true with notebooks. And sometimes I find it easier to take notes manually, but then of course you have all this information and you really should write it down, type it up so it doesn't get lost. Yeah. And I have this one that I have on stream, and I used to start every stream by saying that this was the most important world building tool, because if you have cool ideas and you don't write them down, they just don't happen. So, but I am typing up all of this so that when the pages inevitably start coming off, I won't lose all of the information contained therein. Backup copies, as it were. So the Bay of Thalos is a bay along the coast. Oh, I can show you the map, actually. Map. That one. We're doing Calcidar, which is on the, I know the map's not the clearest, but on the southern coast there's Napolita, and then Florentia to the northeast, and it is oriented with north going up. I didn't put the little compass rose. And then just to the northeast of that, you got Calcidar, and it's a small island, not island, but a small kingdom. I have this continent, and then there's an island to the south that you can barely see on the map. Yes, Napolita actually conquered pretty much the entire continent, and then Napolita there's actually a whole thing. They are kind of like city-states. Well, they're not, there are in both Venetia and Florentia, and to a lesser extent in Napolita proper, which used to cover all three of them before it got schismed after the Emperor, and each of those three kingdoms had its own king, and the Emperor was above all of them. And then, of course, there was the Chancellor, who was on par with all of them, who was ruled over the Dragonborns in the south in Napolita. But yeah, there's a lot. I did a lot of history with those. But when the king of Napolita there was a whole system of marriages and politically vibed marriages that caused the king of Napolita to also become the emperor when the previous emperor died. The other two under kings were like, nope, and just kind of seceded. So now it's just the king of Napolita, who is also the emperor, and then you have the high chancellor, who's technically on par with the king, but isn't, because the king is also the emperor. It's a weird legacy system that they're technically separate. Yeah. It is, but yeah, it's, but there are also these city-states, a lot of city-states throughout the area, and then there are what's called state cities, which are cities that don't have enough of a population to be really controlled by, have as a controlling interest, and therefore are more run by country-sponsored government, and it's a whole thing. That's the main. And then there are areas between that are kind of nebulous. Whew. Yeah, that's that one, which I had a lot of details on, which is why I started with Cassadar, because I hadn't developed that much detail on it. Although I do know of one bakery, because that was so the native population of halflings and turtles, human government with a halfling is. Oh, there's a halfling as a king, but most of the government is okay. That's good to know. Worth noting down. Sorry, I know I'm a little scattered. Government is a halfling king, but mostly comprised of humans. Despite a native population of both turtles and halflings. Right. Yeah. So the king is a halfling. I'm gonna take this off here. Okay. What other notes did I put in this little corner here? The king rules alongside a council. Alright, bye B. Council of heads of families. So kind of like the House of Lords. Alright, check. No, it's fine. Mostly human, but with a few halfling and turtle members. Plus the king has one human and one turtle advisor. So I think the government the bureaucracy is probably mostly composed of humans. Is what I meant to say there, and of course I can't. Advisor. Right, we're gonna put that BEA. I can never remember how to spell bureau, and bureaucracy is really, and of course my BEA, your bureaucracy, BUREA. Okay, BUREAU. So it is EAU, but it's BUREAU. Okay, I should probably remember. Especially with, yes, like that. You are better at spelling than I am. The only reason I ever knew that, I think, was because I had the bureaucratic corps lieutenants in the Renthok army, which is a completely separate planet that exists in a completely separate universe and time system. But I wrote a lot about them, so I was actually really good at one point in spelling bureaucratic corps lieutenant, because there were a handful of them, and they were all, like, they were useful and had a important roles, but I haven't written about Renthok in a long time, so I forgot about that. And most, I do not write often about bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is mostly human. Right. So we have that note. Bureaucracy is mostly human. Council, advisors. Oh, Aquel. I don't know how to pronounce the... Oh, and the tides of sugar. That's important too. And... Oh, and the other bakery that's its thing. Okay, Bay of Thalas. Commonly worshipped deity. So, one of the best things I loved about Pathfinder. Oh, I had an old conlang for a completely different world altogether that I was building ages ago, and I had a whole notebook full of the conlang, and I had that, and I wrote it up, and I pulled it out recently to represent Gith, because I had 2 Githyanki pirates attacking my players after they yeeted themselves into the astral plane, because they were actually in a city in this world. They were in not Pinesville. That's a different city. They were in Plefton. That's it. Which is, I don't know if you've ever played in this world, but I do run a lot of games. My main Pathfinder game, and then a bunch of 5e games in this world. But they were off doing a thing, trying to capture this wizard, and she built a magnificent mansion. And they threw a chest of holding through the stupid door, trying to sneak past the thing where you can only let people you want inside. And then it all attached themselves to a rope, so of course they all went through. And 2 of the servants who then had an existential crisis because they existed outside of the mansion, which they shouldn't be able to do, and it was a shock to the systems. They all ended up in the astral sea, and had to find their way back, and actually ended up in Hyreth, to the south, and then had to cross the border. I wrote up a system of random rolls so that there was a small chance that they would end up on the wrong continent, but an even smaller chance that they would end up in the right country. The continent they ended up on, the continent being this one. They were in Hitherland, and they ended up in Hyreth. Idian is the Hitherlandi name for Hyreth, and because reasons. Yeah, because... Yeah, but so I pulled the conlang out for Gith. I used to be really good at that, because I studied linguistics and that was my passion. I have not created the language in a while. Mostly for these ones I'm using kind of the assumption that French, or Hitherland, because they speak Hitherlandi, but it's basically German, or they speak Hyrethian, but it's basically French. Gilnia, they'd probably speak Polish, but I haven't yet defined that. Napolitan, which is spoken in the southern part, is basically Italian. In Dementia, they speak English, because that is a reason. Bjornga, I don't know what language they speak, but it's probably Norse-ish sounding. Well, because I kind of vaguely based it on European politics, because reasons. But, of course, it's not a one-for-one historical parallel, and there are certain aspects that are slightly different, but let me get rid of the map. Ta-da. But, yeah. Kelsar is, nope, there we go. The commonly worshipped deity. was Aquel. When I read, so when I started creating this, I was using the Pathfinder core rulebook, which means I used all the deities out of that one because I had two players who were a paladin and a cleric of Caden Callion, because reasons. Which I had a a very good friend and fellow streamer who recently ran a stream and claimed that he'd been running a campaign in Galorion for months and had never heard of Caden Callion, which is Galorion is the world that Pathfinder set in. I stole their gods, but didn't steal the rest of the world. Caden Callion, yes! He's like the coolest god ever! I actually, in this version of reality that I've created, he was actually Neapolitan human, from Napolita, because reasons. But he has this very similar history of being a sellsword, actually, and getting involved in foreign wars when the Empire was breaking up, and because they had to go back, and a lot of the Glorion not anthology, Pantheon, that's the word, is based on their history, because a lot of the gods were that. So I had to rework the history to fit this world, including the whole thing where they killed, not Abadar, but the other god of law who was Iomede's mentor and such, and yeah, so I had to rework a lot of that stuff, and but I did, because I'd started using the Pathfinder core rulebook, I based my Pantheon in their Pantheon. But then I had Akel and Akel, who is actually a child of Gazra, because back when I first started playing, when you have the written up, I'll even show you. I have the source book here. Boom. This is the boom. And if I look here, I can show you bards, barbarians, clerics is next. So they have a list of all the deities in the they have deities of the Pathfinder Chronicle, a list in the cleric section of let me see how well this is showing up. They have a list of deities, which is this one here. The only reason I have this is because I saved up back when I was in college and just starting to play and bought it. Our local gaming store had a rule where if you wanted to play in the games they ran, you had to pay $5. This was long ago, before PDF. I mean, PDFs existed back then, but it was much less of a thing. There was a local game store near there, and they had a rule where you pay in $5 and you could play in the games, but you got a gift certificate for $5 to the. Basically, you could turn it in for $5 worth of stuff at the gaming store. It was kind of basically they didn't want to charge for the games, but they wanted to incentivize. So you just had to promise to spend at least $5 at the store, or you'd lose it forever. But we bought snacks there anyway, and we bought minis, and we bought all sorts of stuff. Yeah, but I saved up all my little things and bought the core rulebook as a whole thing throughout the year. It was and then Addie chewed it, but she's still a good girl, and I still love her very much and miss her. But she is, and she's not a puppy anymore, so she wouldn't chew it now. But she was young, and I left it on a lower table, and she chewed it. But I still have it, and it's still functional. But the point of the gods was they have this whole list of gods. So yeah, so you pay $5 for the week. Bi-weekly. You pay $5 for the weekly game, and you could sit in on the session, and they'd have one of their people DM it, and then you'd buy the pass, and then you could play, and then you could save up them or just blow it after the session on, candy or whatever. Or comics, or they also sold comics, and I was into Conan back. There was a lot of fun stuff. It was a great. I miss it, living in a town that has a local gaming store. We have a comic book shop here, but it's not the same. I miss the, going in to stare at the dice and stuff. Yeah. So when I first started running my games, Oh no, we shared a copy of the player's handbook for the game back when we played. We'd share the copy of the player's handbook. It wasn't a big deal that we didn't have our own, but I wanted one for myself so I could have it. And when I ran my own game, I was the only one who had a copy because I was teaching newbies because those were who I could find to play. And so when I built the world, I built them with the same gods that were written in the handbook because that's what I had. So. And this was when I first built this. This was actually years ago. The setting, I've kind of been building it piecemeal over tons of games, and I wanted to kind of formalize it, which is why I've been doing these world building streams. But, right. But one of the deities listed is Cayden Cailean, who was my favorite, and my first character, Alara. The first one I played was a cleric of Desna, who was, I don't even remember her name. She was a dwarf, and I don't remember her name. But Alara was a devotee of Cayden Cailean. A rogue, but a devotee of Cayden Cailean, and it was a whole, thing for her. And so, yeah. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with any of the other pantheons. I don't know a lot about the Forgotten Realms pantheon, other than what Matt Mercer took from it, but for Critical Role. But he also used parts of the because it was originally a Pathfinder game. The goddess Sarenrae, who is Pathfinder, she's right here, goddess of the sun, redemption, honesty, and healing. They used. Pike just had, the goddess Sarenrae was just ported over, like she existed. And Rory, of the same Rory as in on Blue Box, who was my first DM for 5th edition. When I got the rules for 5th edition, it didn't have any setting information, and it just said, use whatever gods. And I was creating clerics, so I made her a cleric of Sarenrae, because those were the gods I knew. The deities I knew, I should say. And so I made her a cleric of Sarenrae, and then I found out that he was actually setting it in Forgotten Realms, I think, somewhere very specific that had its own gods, and it was very. He allowed me to do a kind of Sarenrae peeking through the veils of the multiverse because of Cora's unique faith and the way she was just trying to redeem herself from the lie by actually making it true retroactively, and it was an interesting redemption case. So we did that, and there's actually a whole thing, and I know there was an entire before the game collapsed. We had a roleplay server, and there was a whole Temple of Sarenrae there with. It was actually pretty cool, but yeah. Oh, the reason, though, I was very big on this pantheon, specifically, was Gozreh, deity of nature, weather, and the sea. The domains, animal, plant, animal, air, weather, water, sacred weapons, a trident. But it's the reason I was so excited about that is because I was young and, in denial about things. But, they list Erasil, god of farming, Iomedae, goddess of valor, Torag, god of forge, Sarenrae, goddess of, it's got Shelyn, goddess, Desna, goddess, Cayden Cailean, god, Abadar, god, Aurori, god. Gozreh is a deity, not a god or a goddess. And there's one of them is an NB. And that just spoke to me as someone who was totally actually a woman and not in denial about that. That spoke to me. So when I created Aquel, that's why I got on the topic of gods and goddesses, and then yeah, I mean, I didn't at first notice it either, but I think I was meeting a lot of NBs for the first time at college and kind of learning people, how to do they, them pronouns, because a very good friend of mine, Milo, they went by they, them, so I was kind of learning, and it was in my mind, so when I first bought the book, I was like, oh, I noticed it, but that's because it was on the forefront of my mind and my own... Oh, well, anyway, but that stuck out to me. So when which I think is a good distinction, because I have a whole thing about the masculine shouldn't be the default, and then the feminine the separate, because that deprives the masculine of its own thing, and that always bugged me a lot. But that people would use the masculine form as a gender neutral form, which there's a lot of layers with that, and English is an imperfect language, and if I go on about it, I'll be ranting. But what I did was, for this, I created a deity, Aquel, who was canonically gender fluid and was the child of Pharasma and Gosra. And I need to tape this out. I'm sorry, I'm getting all tangenty. I tend to get, and Gosra, and the, was a deity worshipped primarily by the Dragonborns, there was a technical term for the... I wrote it down somewhere because I had a lot of lore in the Dragonborn system because, well, I had a player playing in one of my games who wanted to play Dragonborn. And then he ditched halfway first session, or after the first 2 sessions, so I like having the lore anyway, so it's probably worth it. The Tides of Sugar. The only other thing on this page is a bakery run by Sarkis Bluetide, retired paladin. Actually, a retired paladin of Aquel. Yeah, that was, oh, no, Seafoam Sugars. Sorry. Tides of Sugar is a rival bakery, which is stupid. Okay, fine. I'll retype the whole thing. Won't make you... Sorry. Seafoam Sugars. Baker... there are 3 bakeries in town. Oh. Alright, bye. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Always good to have friends in stream. Try to not have too terrible a day at work. So, okay, we had Tides of Sugar to the bakery near the docks, and Seafoam Sugars, which is a rival bakery. Oh, right. Yeah, no worries. Don't sweat it. I always appreciate when people come, even for it's a little bit. I get that I'm stream at weird times. Not everyone can come all the time. It's fine. I'm streaming all the time. So if you ever want to come back, I'm a retired paladin. Okay, seafoam sugars, right? Okay, and then okay, we got those. That is everything that I have on the. I'm gonna write. I have one, also one. I have a name written down that I don't know what so I'm gonna put it with a question mark, and then if I remember what it is, I'll. But, this is a halfling cleric. Yes, we have all sorts of character creation. So, the way the notebook is set up is world building mixed with character creation, and a lot of character creation. So, for example, Sarkis Bluetide, pansexual, he's a cis guy, halfling, level 17 paladin, and strength of 16, dexterity 14. He's a charisma of 26. So he's just like the most charming little halfling. Only 9 intelligence, so like charm, not vibes. But 14 wisdom, so like he knows what's up. He's just not very book smart. But that's okay. He has proficiency with all armor and weapons and shields and all sorts of cool stuff. But, and I wrote out all the important details of. I did not write down his base attack bonus, though. I probably should write that down. Okay, base attack bonus. He's under 27 hit points, though. And his base attack bonus, as a 17th level paladin, I've been... for the characters, I started with him. I'm going to type them up somewhere else, but I wanted to at least type up some of this world building stuff. And I probably could do more with it, like, what goes where. Oh, sorry. Clerics, wizards, paladins are. But if you notice you don't have something, is 17th level. 17. Oh, wow, he gets 4 attacks. Okay. And an off. And. What is your feats? Hang on. That's the mercies. First level, second. Skills and feats. Okay. Vital strike. Oh no, just dodge and greater. Okay, yeah, just epic amounts of vital striking. But, like, +4 on the last hit or whatever. Okay, so is +17 plus. I think he has to wield. I mean, he would wield it with strength anyway. There's no weapons finesse, but he's more strength than dexterity, so it doesn't matter. +12. +7 and +2. So 4 attacks per turn, which is pretty cool. Okay. Trident. Oh, and I have another version of. Which chart is it? Let me see. Let me find the chart that we have here. I have a lesser version of this chart, an early version of human, tiefling, halfling, gnome, half-orc, half-elf, elf, dwarf. Yeah, it's the exact same chart, in the same order. D8. when I rolled up a halfling for him. But nope, that one. Yes, okay, good. Where the heck? Oh. Yes. Bureaucracy is absolutely necessary, but and good to know how to spell, but, it just tends to, you know. Um, okay, what's the plan? Oh, yes, 46. Yeah, because, 19th level, yeah, his wife was 2 levels higher, than him. Oh, look at this. All the other important stuff. Flotsam, the cormorant. And then Oliarch. I probably should write down. So when I created Oliarch, the druid, he was an elf, straight druid. Skills, family. Girlfriend is a cleric of Celavine was bi, and her girlfriend was a cleric of Desna. I based it on the song Space Girl, which I then played on stream, I think, at least at one point, because if I based a character on it, that's technically transformative and therefore counts under fair use. I also, if Francis Forever asked me not to, I totally wouldn't, but, like, I'd hope she'd cool with it. Only if she asked me personally, though. The studio, like, asked them, I'll go to court over it, but, like, yeah, but if the artist herself, or their self, I think they go by they, them pronouns, asked me to take it down, I totally would. The studio, I'm willing to fight copyright on. That's my theory on it. What else? Oh, yeah, so we had all of them. And this is where I went through the druid. And I think what I need to ignore mobility and magical effect. Oh, yes, all sorts of class features. Oh, and this was the class for Constellation Tiefling, who was a cleric bard who was just cool. She was amazing. Also, she was the start of Desna being the patron god of trans lesbians. The patron goddess of trans lesbians. She was the goddess of trans lesbians because reasons. Wild shape. Animal companion was the wolf, the emotional support wolf. And Dendron, I actually ran a special on Dendron, and he was one of the group fighting the flail snail, and I was really, really hoping he didn't die because, he's kind of useless. Like, he's not useless, but he's not optimally built. Like, he's a level of druid, but 8 wisdom, so he can't cast any druid spells. But, so he got fewer hit points than if he'd just been a 3-level barbarian. But he also got the emotional support wolf. But that's, like, the only thing he got from that class. So it was very much a suboptimal build. But, he was young, and sometimes people are suboptimally built. Sometimes you don't always find your footing right away. He also had 19 intelligence, though, weirdly. But he had such low wisdom and charisma that he was just a hot mess of anxiety and neurotypicality, and had to have an emotional support wolf, who was the goodest girl. Except maybe for Jay the Snake, who wore chainmail. She was also a good girl. But Nerissa, 20th. Oh, right. AFAB. Was she one of. Now the question then becomes, was she. No, she wasn't. She was the head of the clan. And I. Okay, this is an important thing. So we got the Druidic tribe, and they are in Northern Hitherland, and we need to boom do the thing with the thing. Okay, so Northwestern Hitherland. I don't think their tribe was the one that was next near what the. I have to look at the map again. I should probably put that map up as well. I have a map of Hitherland because I have vague maps of Hyreth and then a couple maps, like so many maps of Hitherland. I have the big one that has all the whole country, but only shows like a handful of the cities, and then I have the the big one that shows the whole country, but only a handful of the cities. Mostly the ones that are and then I have a bunch that show more to it than that. So, oh, right. Along the banks of the River Ashton, which is to the west of, so I have this tribe of druids, and I kind of create a little bit of lore about them, mostly just who was in charge, and a lot of people involved with them, including Briar, who was married to Nerissa, who was the, head of the clan, who did the thing, and, stuff. Tribe of Druids, on the banks, the river Ashton, oh wow, okay, alright, hang on, let me, tribe of, okay, on bank of the, yes, then, sorry, excuse me, west of Lethville. Alright, yeah, banks of the river, I remember there was, it was formed when, a group of human druids, okay, group of human devout followers, Gozra, were called to merged with, and then Nerissa was a half elf because she was chosen to. It had to be. That was the way the thing they were gonna do it. Was elven druids. Wood elf druids were already out there. So that's fun. So, the former head of the druids wanted to retire. And pass on leadership. And given I'm sorry. Given the merged nature of the group, the leader was chosen from he had with a human woman. The human devotees. That way it was a half elf, half human, and it was supposed to be more fair that way. So that happened. But the way that worked was because it was a she kind of wanted, she didn't really want the job, but she kind of felt forced into taking it. So her name was Nerissa. And she had a snapping turtle animal companion named Lorenz, who was a fab. Sorry for. I know eating on stream can be considered kind of rude. It was kind of often, despite being a female, and the turtle was often referred to with he and pronouns just because everyone got mixed up. And you know what was a pretty awesome turtle? And had vital strike. Like, this was a very impressive and 118 hit points and an AC of 26. Basically, this turtle was this snapping turtle was just like badass, essentially. Because once you get to level 20, your animal companion levels up in badass as well. I mean, and then siblings. Question is, Briar, and then, hang on, Briar's siblings, right. I was trying to get Briar, and I kept constantly rolling. I rolled like 6 different times, and all I ever got were straight guys, so I was like, you know what? She is a straight brother, because the dice clearly want me to create a straight guy, so he's a straight brother, and Perks, and he had the snake named Jake, you named, actually, Jake Quillan, who was a female. She was pretty cool, and she could wear armor. She could wear iron wood chainmail, because she was awesome like that. But that was, Briar was her human spouse, and just adorbs, and had a badger named Honk, and also had a whole bunch of siblings, and which I named, and I think to a human. Briar. Yeah, Briar is gonna be that. It's gonna be a vibe. Okay, human named Fire. Cool. Sorry, that's, I think, all the information I have on the tribe. But it did have a whole, like, there was enough implied history that I figured I should write it down. What's the concept? And then Hitherland being the country. I should probably write that down too, just in case we ever forget. Okay. So, sorry, my nose is. Ugh. I know my face is kind of acne-y, but that's what it is. Okay, wow. Strong stuff. Okay. So that's them. Do I have any other world building notes? Snapping, also not snapping turtle. Shell Q is pretty cool. Yes. Euphemia, I think, yes, she's the youngest in that whole family, and has a snake named Gustav. That was, okay, turn. Oh, right, and then I did Ethel, which was a half-orc wizard, and, who also has world building associated with her, because she was, right, we did, I think the, based on that is when I did the world building for Leo, who's a black cat. Yes, okay. Griselda and Claudette, and also the entire frickin' Claude, who was the elven frickin' crime boss. Yeah, he was a crime boss, and basically I need to find. Oh, Visaria. So I have all these notes on Visaria, which is a whole other planet, which is for later. But Icton, and okay, so I need to look for my world building notes, because I promised it was going to be a Pathfinder based stream, so Bruiser. That's his name. Okay, so Adet is completely different. Right. Rochevier. Very. Rochevier. Okay. I need to type this down so I remember the capital. Rochevier. Very. Rochevier. Yeah, Rochevier was the capital. I should knock it down a few lines because just to. Yeah, okay. Capital Hyreth. Contains. I have whole notes on this. That is Maine Magic University, among other things. Not. Okay, so I should probably. And the crime. And a crime syndicate. Run by an elf named Claude. This is important. On the banks of the, okay, so along with the other things on the River Bolton are farther to the north when it flows down through Hitherland. There's a whole right, Nick. Apparently I'm not going to save this. Yeah. Hi. I do have my streaming buddy, McVenner, here. At some point I'm going to need a fish cam, I think. When I get my, what's the word? When I get another camera, a better camera, I'm going to create a fish cam, and then he can just, like, vibe in the corner, swimming around in circles, because he's a good little fish, and he deserves it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the banks of the River Bolton, which I think is also important, contains... It does contain a temple to Cayden that doubles as an orphanage and a brewery because reasons. That's how these things work. Which is not in the main square. I don't know where exactly in the city it is, but there is a main square, and it is not in the main square. I am going to put that down, too. I am going to, save. Let's see. Things that exist. I'm going to call it Things That Exist, and it's going to be a Word document that contains a lot of world building from... Oh, my hairs. Okay. World building from this world I've been putting together, and then I'll have to put another one together for the 40k stuff that's... I'm going to also have to type up at some point, but I wanted to type up especially the notes on... the few notes I had on Calcidar, because that's on the very last page, and that's when the pages that's going to fall out first when the next, that's the way pages are going to fall out, and I don't want it to fall out. And I'm going to try something. Okay. So I'm going to give Twitch that I have to get ready for work at some point, so I'm going to do that. I should be able to do this. Stream manager, that's me. Okay, cool. I'm the one managing the stream. Yeah, if you're introverted, it's easier. Remote work is easier for introverts. Yes, we know that. That is not news. Okay, sorry. I need to go and see if I was planning. I usually schedule my stream at this time on Wednesdays, because I know Kayla likes to do a stream this time on Wednesdays sometimes, and I want to head into her streams because I'll put that out because I want to give her a chance, because I do tend to want to stream into hers if I can. If she's not streaming today, then I can't raid into her stream. But I do have another Twitch stream, which is also really cool, that I would like to raid into if you would be up for that. Give her 5 minutes to respond. In the meantime, there are dragons. Also, there's also a small shrine. I'm gonna put this in. That would be otherworldly notes about the other cities. I need to draw a map, is what I need to do. And a better map of the continent and. Okay, but there is also a shrine. A very small reflecting pool. Okay, yes. There's that. And save as well. Okay. So at 3:05, we're going to end the stream. I thank you all for coming. My name is Lee. Shiva, her vibes today, but here they is fine. Yeah, vibes. Oh, vibe checks. Oh, yes. Move the keyboard over here. Okay, the top of my head looks terrible. Just, saying that, I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. But, so I did, okay, I had everything that was on this page written down, which means that when I also have to go and, go on to the thing and type up all the other characters I have, because that is another thing that needs to get typed up. But that is a whole separate thing. Aww, me. What was I gonna... Oh, yeah. So, my plan is go to work. Well, maybe a 15-minute power nap. Go to work, because I mostly... Well, I need to prep. I need to get dressed. And then eat something. And then I'll see how much time I have. And also I have to be sure I get my stuff all figured out so I don't lose anything. Okay. And then, all that jazz. Then go to work. Tonight is... If I don't get to clean water tonight. Yes, you do. Not until tonight, though. I've been doing Sword Timber on Instagram. I think I'm Pathfinder in Dice on Instagram. I've been doing Sword Kember, except they're mostly not just swords, but all sorts of weapons. And the most recent one is darts. I have to post it, but I did create it, so that's cool. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna say that, and what we're gonna do is we are gonna go on a raid. So if you would care to join, raid. Yes. So Brush for Hire, let's see, is a, basically does painting. Yeah, I did actually ask, and he said his friends hear him. He is a painter, and just paints minis and stuff, and is pretty chill. Like, he streams a lot, like, basically all day, every day, and he's just pretty chill and fun to look. So I'm gonna pop you over, because he could use the boost, and is just generally cool. And I haven't been on the stream in a while, so I feel like he's one of the coolest ones on today, right now. So we're gonna do that, and I will see you all late tomorrow night. For late night, like midnight or so tomorrow, which is basically 9 p.m. if you're on the West Coast, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit this, and no? Hang on. Let's try this again. Give me a sec. Alright, hang on. That one. Alright, we're going to do the quick raid button. Let's try it out. Alright, and let me do the thing, and... Wait, I have to time it.